So that was our last class regarding the Kubernetes fundamental, then the why Kubernetes is required in the industry, then where we can deploy Kubernetes cluster. And apart from that, what we had? Apart from that, we had, let me open. On the architecture of the Kubernetes, we discussed little bit, but not details to the component. Yeah. So, and that we discuss some about their container functionality, why the Kubernetes coming into the market. Till that point, we discuss. Now, today, we straightly start the Kubernetes component using this diagram. Using this diagram, I will start. So, anyone can tell me what is actually Kubernetes? Now, you have some basic idea. Mankar, uh, Sikandar, I want you just describe it in brief.
See, I didn't work in Kubernetes till now. I'm still working on our infrastructure only. But as per my understanding, it looks like it's orchestration tool where we can deploy our applications on some load sharing kind of mechanism. It will reduce our downtimes. Those were some kind of benefits in Kubernetes.
Great. Now, directly, I'm going to this cluster now. So, as discussed earlier, Kubernetes cluster having the master, and sometimes it is called the controller plane or controller node. This is our master node, and apart from that, we should have a worker node, and this is our worker node. So, in the master node, Kubernetes in the Kubernetes cluster, the components in the master node services handle the Kubernetes cluster across. That may be a different worker node, maybe more than one or more than two worker node there. So all these things control services by the master node. Worker node does only handle the traffic from outside cluster. That means we deploy some application only into the worker node, and that application will work behalf of or behalf of organization. That may be a different kind of application. That may be your web application, web server. That may be your database server, database application. So this kind of applications run through the worker node. Coming to the master node. That is called controller. Control plane you can say, or controller node also you can say. So what we have? Kube-api Server. Himangsu, are you here? Join with us?
Give me only 1 minute, okay? Just one.
Yeah. Tell me about the Kube-api Server. If you have any idea.
API server is uh, connected only connected with the worker nodes. Okay,
Okay.
and each and every information shared by the worker nodes to the control plane or master nodes through the API server, only API server. So API server is responsible for each and everything for communication purpose, only communication purpose. And another one is the controller. Controller works
So
like
I just asked you about the Kube-api Server. Okay.
yes,
Thanks.
then
Thanks,
API
Himangsu.
service is
Thanks.
just communication.
So, just I want to elaborate the things. What is API server? That is called Kube API server. And it is using. That means the functionality of the API server in the master node. It only resides inside the controller node, not in the worker node. QAPI server, you can see it marked as a blue. Okay, it not only have the communication. The purpose of this not only the communication among the cluster, among the node that may be inside the master node. So it also communicate inside the master node. Like it can communicate controller, it can communicate etcd server, it can communicate scheduler, and it can directly connect with the kubelet only, not other components in this worker node. So that is the beauty of the Kube-api server. And outside of the cluster, as you can see, the black border. This is our Kubernetes cluster. Outside the black border is considering the cluster. Outside the cluster means any user. Like I am a Kube admin, I am a Kubernetes administrator. I have that job. So whenever try to work, I try to work along with the many nodes inside the cluster. So I need to reach inside the cluster, right? So I am a person that from outside I need to communicate. So how I will do? I will do through the QAPI server. So what is the functionality here? QAPI server first check my authorization authenticate means it will authenticate the user. That is the first point. So you can consider Somnath, could you please mute Somnath Paul? Yeah. So what happening here? QAPI server do the user authentication part. It works like a firewall. It gives some security that unauthorized user not able to enter inside the cluster. That is the first point. Second point, user means I'm admin here. So whenever I want communicate, so there could be any purpose. Maybe I want to deploy anything. Maybe I want query anything about the cluster. Maybe I want to know status of my node, status of my application. So that may be anything. So validate that request. What I'm requesting, right? Then retrieve the data. Retrieve data means if I I post any query, right? So that information it will collect from the etcd server and give us to us, give us to me. So this is functionality of the Kube-api server. It is considered as a brain of the cluster. So this is Kubernetes the brain. Any point, anything, guys? Maybe if sometimes I look over any queries, na, so please ask me repeatedly ask me because I give you enough time to raise your query, raise your questions, right? But in between, if you miss that, so please ask me again. I will answer you. If I don't know, if I don't have idea, I will take time, but I will definitely respond to you. Now coming to the controller. Controller also a very important component in the Kubernetes cluster. It basically helps to control your application. As example, in this in this worker node, in this worker node, you can see we have a one port. Inside the port, what we have containerized applications. So maybe we have more than one port. And based on your application, that is possible inside a node. You can deploy more than one port. So now the controller responsibility is to keep your port running all time. That means that means if we deploy suppose two ports, controller every time will check the two ports are live and they are working good, their health is good. If suddenly one port goes down, suddenly one port goes down, then controller every time checking that, my pod condition or my containerized based application is running or not. If certainly one pod or one application goes down, then controller responsibility is to make two pods. So what controller will do? Immediately, controller will launch or create same pod. Same pod means with the same application. You can consider as a make a clone of that pod so that the pod counting should be two and two application will run smoothly. So that based on your configuration, based on your business strategy, you can handle the traffic with these two. So that is the work functionality of our control. It is very important. It is very important what because it keep healthy your cluster. It keep going your applications. Somnath, please mute yourself. Now coming to the scheduler. Anyone have any idea about the scheduler? Anyone? Come and tell me.
Scheduler is a create the pods and it's all sorry it's create the pods desired pods and
Okay, fine. Thank
as
you.
per the controller requirements.
In this cluster, just I draw three worker nodes. Okay. In this cluster, this is our three worker node. Okay. This is node number one. This is node number two. This is node number three. So node one, node two, node three. Now, whenever uh, at admin or any developer try to launch any pod, so what will help to run your applications? That is containerized application. Now, scheduler, this is from the master node. This is from the master node. What it is doing here, what it is doing here, first reach the information to the scheduler to launch a pod. It is coming, the request coming from outside cluster. Inside the master node, we have scheduler. Scheduler will check in the cluster to which node the pod can be launched. The pod can be created. Scheduler first checking this node, node 1, and it is finding that it has some restricted, some rules and restricted deployed in this node. That means randomly you cannot launch the node port inside this node number 1 because it makes some risk. If I give an example, if I give an example, suppose you are working in any XYZ organizations and the organizations just reside inside a campus or premises having many organizations. Apart from XYZ organizations having many organizations. So you have a particular office ID card that helps to enter your particular workstation or your organization. You having the ID card XYZ, with that ID card, you will not able to enter or they will not allow other organizations not allowed to enter their office. Suppose you want to visit the ABC office, ABC organization, and you are employee of XYZ. So with that card, with that employee card, you not they will not allow to that particular organization. So here one term that is I'm telling is deploy. That is chain tolerance. Instant tolerance. That means if I make this node 10, so scheduler not able to launch any port inside this node. That is called taint and tolerance. This is one kind of rules in the Kubernetes. So I don't want randomly port launch inside me. Now coming to node 2. So every node having its own capacity. Based on our requirement, based on our configuration, we create maybe node 2 can contain 3 ports. And inside that, it already has the 3 ports. Port 1, two, port 3. So the capacity is full for node 2. So fast scheduler try to check, try to validate or audit that we can launch my new port here or not. So it found not able to launch because this taint and tolerance are deployed in this node. Now the scheduler again
One
try to
second,
the
this capacity, excuse me, sorry to bother. In Node 2, like we are saying, this Node 2 having a maximum capacity of 3 ports. Is it like we have to mention in the rules where we used to have replications 10 tolerance, that kind of rule will be given, or it depends on capacity?
no. There is a different scenario, Sikandar. Like taint tolerance, one policy that you can deploy in your node. Suppose
I understand.
okay,
Like
I'm coming
for
to
the
your
limit.
I'm
Uh,
coming to your point. Now, based on your configuration, suppose we have a configuration, okay? So the solution architect given configuration that inside a cluster we can make 3 nodes as per our requirement, right? And each node having capacity of 3 ports. As example, this is only example. So you make it 1,000 ports as per your requirement. So then the node capacity will be high that time. That time the node capacity will be high.
yeah, that's right.
For
So
for our for our example, which I have taken 3 nodes only. Okay, so that may possible that you are
it means
deploying a
we-
cluster. Sorry, come again.
that means we have a mechanism where we can restrict in cluster itself that for this node too we can maximum launch this much pods only with this capacity. The port
Yeah,
capacity must be
that
between these
possible.
two.
Yeah, that
Okay.
in our hand. That is in our hand. Okay, during the configuration, so that we can make that. Now, my purpose is
Okay.
to show you that what is the functionality of scheduler. So, whenever scheduler check that node capacity, port capacity inside this node 2 is full. So, scheduler not able to launch here. Now, scheduler again check another net that we have available, right? This node also available. So, scheduler directly check this node and it found that there is enough capacity and there is no rules and restrictions provided in this node 3. So scheduler, what you will do, scheduler will launch that port here. The purpose of this drawing to show you the functionality of anyone have any confusions, any queries, let me know.
One silly query. This scheduler will deploy within the cluster only, or it can deploy this new pod in other clusters also?
I did not get your point.
See, like this is one cluster with 3 worker and one controller. we may have in our same cloud or nearby cloud, we have one more cluster with the same kind of configuration, say like in. Uh, uh, so, is it possible that this
I
cluster can
understood.
deploy the?
I understood your point. Yes, this is that possible. That possible.
That's
Okay,
also possible.
but that is a complex architecture. You will get to know when I will
Uh,
discuss some other
in
points.
it's kind of configuration to have like geographical redundancies of MSCs or all multi things.
That time, see, there are multiple master node that call the controller node coming into the picture, and many cluster node, sorry, many worker node. So that time we have some defined concept. I will discuss that time, like
Okay.
how the scheduler and some master components can use some other cluster.
So logically it's possible. That's okay.
Yes,
We can discuss.
yeah. Now, this is the job of a scheduler. I hope you understand now. Now, coming to the etcd. Who will tell me the etcd, the functionality of etcd?
Database.
It's
Yes.
to store all data.
Okay, good. Anyone? Any input, Himanshu?
It's ensure the configuration data, cluster state, information managing nodes, pods, and services like that.
Okay,
It means it,
just
yeah.
let me discuss now. Etcd, as you told, database. Yeah, we can consider as a etcd database server or the cluster. Okay. Now, this is the main part. This is the main part that every in real-time information keeping inside. So that means if any pod launching into a node, maybe node 3, as example I showed. So that information kept inside the etcd, that this node, this pod launch inside node 3, and that time. Same time, if there is some node or the pod getting unhealthy and that need to terminate from the system, that information also keeping inside this this object. Right. So it store the real time data across the cluster, even it regarding the master node or the controller plane, having many objects, having the many components, that data also stored as real time. So this is basically our etcd, and it act like a memory, it act like a database server to help the real time, to help give real time dates, real time information. Now coming to the worker node. What are the components we have in the worker node? Who will tell me? First, I will
Code
start from
kubelet.
the C. Yeah. First, I will start from CRIO. It is basically your container runtime engine. It helps to generate, to create, to build your container. As you already saw the functionality of a Docker or how the Docker daemon works, I believe you have some understanding now about the Docker, how the Docker is work. I'm going to that point, guys. I'm going to that point for Docker. Yes, where we have, where we have. Uh, what Docker engine doing? It's creating a container. Can you see that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So what we are providing, what we are feeding in this engine, image or Docker file.
Correct.
Yeah, Docker file means source code. Our developer just developing a code. and we are feeding to this engine. And what engine giving to us? Container. What is container? The purpose of container to run the application, right? Yes or no?
Yes, yes, got it.
Right. So CRI doing that. Okay. So what CRI we can put? We can put here Docker. So that is the reason we want to know Docker before starting the Kubernetes. Guys, tell me about this point. What you have the understanding. So that is the
CRIO
reason
must be,
we have container runtime engine. We have container runtime engine. Say here we are showing it CRIO. So you using in Docker here. Practically 90% cases in the Kubernetes cluster Docker is used. What is the functionality of pod? So pod only encapsulate your containerized applications. Pod, yellow color, this is our pod. Encapsulate your containerized applications. And another point, it helps to communicate with other containers. And pod is the smallest unit in the Kubernetes cluster. Now coming to the queue proxy. Who will tell about the queue proxy? Right.
I guess it must be some tunneling kind of work which can help to communicate port to port.
It's
Yes.
Provide
it's assign IP addresses for this pod.
Yes, Sikandar, but there is not tunneling concept, but the basic purpose is to communicate. Yes, Himanshu, it provide the IP, it assign the
provide the
IP
IP. Yes.
based on your services. Whenever any new services launch, whenever any new services we introduce in the cluster, Qproxy give it the name and assign a IP. That IP help to communicate. Qproxy not only having the worker node, it also have the master node. But in the diagram, we did not show that, right? So also we have a Qproxy in the master node. Please keep in mind, okay? In this diagram, you never find Qproxy anywhere in this master. If you search also Google, you will not never find it. So that was the functionality of your Qproxy. Now tell me kubelet. Tell me
Communicate with
about
KPI server,
yes, right? That is okay. And what is the purpose?
update the status of pods, and
It's
what are the instructions given
manages
by server.
Well,
The
yes,
instruction
right.
given by server.
Yes. So kubelet having communication from the both way means both way it can communicate. So Kube-api server can give instructions that instruction is follow and give output to this or result to this Kube-api server. Apart from that, it main responsibility to keep monitoring the pods inside the node. If any pod getting unhealthy, you late in give information to the API server in each 5 seconds that my this pod getting unhealthy due to that reason. So queue up API server share that information to the etc. Now, so these are the basic functionality of kubelet. Any doubt regarding the functionality, regarding the object and the components here?
No,
Anyone?
it's sufficient.
Wait. Anyone? You want to add anything here? Qproxy, CRIO, port, kubelet, scheduler, controller, etc. Kube-api Server.
This CRIO will be used for every time, na? Whenever a pod will be rescheduled, that time also CRIO will come in picture.
Yeah, without CRIO means container engine.
You
In
can
a word, container engine. Without container engine, there is no functionality of the cluster. Not only the pod. I am talking about the cluster, whole cluster. So there is no meaning of that. So that is now you understood how much important to learn the Docker.
And what is the function of kubelet agent?
This is your kubelet agent. I just missed that word. It's called the basically node agent or kubelet agent. So as you saw, you just learn about the communications and how it's keep sharing the status of the pod, how it's monitoring and informing to the QFUA server. So these are the function of the kubelet agent. It is called kubelet agent. Yellow box written in kubelet. Anyone? Amit, Somnath, right? I'll not able to ask everyone. If anything, please come.
We can move to next point, I think.
Okay. Okay. Now, in terms of interview, in terms, guys, I requesting you. This is not only for CKA. CKA is bit tough exam for your in information. You have to practice 2 to 3 hours after getting the concept. But for interview, if you understand my concept, what I'm telling you, you can easily clear the interview. What they ask, tell me about the QFUA server, tell me about the cluster. I think it's enough now. You able to tell anyone about the cluster if you understand the objects and the components for the functionality. So you can easily tell someone. They can ask what is port, how the port is work, what is the functionality of port, what is the functionality of etcd server controller. So these are the things that they will ask only. Maybe they can ask qproxy why qproxy is required. So that way they will ask. But you not present, so it is not sufficient. Another point, another thing now it is coming that is called a cloud controller manager. That is called a cloud controller manager. Okay, that coming. Let me show you. Let me show you guys. Yes, let me show you. Suppose this is our master node, and already you saw that we have a QAPI server, right? This is QAPI server. This is your etcd cluster. This is your controller. This is your scheduler. So till point, this point you saw. Now one point coming that is called cloud control manager. So I am writing here for you that is coming nowadays. Okay, earlier it was not there. Cloud control manager. What is the functionality of on this component? Now public cloud like the AWS, like the Azure, like the GCP, Google Cloud. So they also providing the Kubernetes cluster, right? They also providing Kubernetes cluster as a service. Means they providing EKS. That is the that is the service of AWS. In the EKS, if anyone wants to work in the Kubernetes cluster, they are giving to that platform. When we discuss about the Kubernetes platform, we discuss on premises, on public cloud. That way, it helps to we can deploy there. See, where we can deploy the Kubernetes, right? So these are the point we can deploy apart from your on premises. Now, now point is that So directly the cloud control manager connected with the that public cloud. That may be AWS. That may be AWS. As example, that may be AWS. So AWS, the cloud platform out of your cluster. It is not inside the cluster. It is connecting with the control cloud control manager. Then it is connecting to the Kube-api server. And REST functionality is same. Only we have extra interface for the AWS that is called the cloud control manager that helping to communicate